And this morning on Eagles Outlook, General Yakubu Gowon pleads for peace or patience with the Tinubu administration. He was yesterday at the presidential villa to meet with the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, after which he said, look, it's quite early for anyone to say that the administration hasn't done well. Maybe there's need to exercise a little more patience. And he goes about to say, look, even in his days, try to draw some level of similarities with his days in office. General Yakubu Gowon was Nigeria's head of state from 1966, August 1, 1966 to July 29, 1975. Now, if you know anything about General Yakubu Gowon, it would be that he was one of the youngest people to be head of state, govern this country at a time that it was thrown into a civil war. He presided over Nigeria as head of state at a time when the country went through one of the most deadliest and bloodiest civil war between 1967 and 1970. Now, within that period, General Yakubu Gowon was president or head of state. Now, he was one of those also who founded the ECOWAS community. That's the ECOWAS, that's the Economic Community of West African States. As a founding father of the ECOWAS, he had been invited to, share thoughts on what way to go, considering the fact that Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, and Mali had said they're going to exit. In fact, they've even gone ahead to set up their own Sahara Defense, something like that, union, for themselves. And he says that's not a good way to go. Let's not allow them go like that. It's not going to be good for the region or the bloc. It's going to also affect citizens of these countries. So let's do what we can to keep them within the bloc. That's what he said. You would expect that from a founding father. You would expect that from an elder statesman. You wouldn't expect that an elder statesman would come out and say, oh no, things have gone bad. No. He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't say that. That's not what an elder statesman does. It's their responsibility to ensure that the country maintains a balance and stays afloat. It is their responsibility to see that there's peace in the country. And for him to come out at this point, at this time in his life, at old age, to make these statements and talk about the state of the nation, you'll know that it's not every day that you have an elder statesman like this come out to talk or to pay attention to say something about the state of the nation. By the way, this is the first time he is meeting with the president since this administration came to be. It shows you that it's a serious situation, and even the government recognizes how serious it is. For an elder statesman like this to come out and visit the president, it says a lot. It says a lot about the state of the nation and how maybe seriously even government is taking this. I'll let you listen to General Yakubu Gowon, retired, on his submission on the state of the nation and the economy.
And the government is trying their best to deal with the various problems of the country, but with Nigerians, don't you worry, you can get criticized. I think people out there, they know better than what you know there. But I think all that one can say is that we've got to, Nigerians have to give the president time to get things really done, and it is too early to sort of say yes, that absolute result, perfect result, would be achieved now.
That's General Yakubu Gowon on, Nigerians, be patient. It's too early to say that things aren't working. Give it some time. Many Nigerians may not agree, but the elder statesman has spoken, and that's his thoughts. You cannot invalidate that. He's been there. He's been there, done that, and so he knows what he's saying. That's what a lot of people, other people would say. Let's get to hear him on the ECOWAS issue.
ECOWAS, despite its shortcomings, has become an example of regional integration to the wider continent. Having achieved all of the above, it saddens me to learn that ECOWAS is threatened with disunity following the announcement by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, three important member states, of their intention to leave the community. The impact of such a decision will have far-reaching implications for the ordinary citizens who have been the major beneficiaries of regional integration. Therefore, on behalf of all the founding fathers of the community and myself, I urge ECOWAS authority of heads of state and government, including the leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, to put aside their differences, and reunite for the peace, stability, and prosperity of our region.
Well, that's the elder statesman there, General Yakubu Gowon, on the state of the ECOWAS. Well, what is going to happen if the ECOWAS disintegrates the way that it seems to be going? What are the implications? Have you wondered what's going to happen between nations like Nigeria that are bordered by countries like Niger Republic? So what's going to happen is that the relationship between Niger Republic and Nigeria would go south, completely south, because the economic ties, the bilateral ties, and all of that would be severed. So what that means is that those who live around the borders of between Nigeria and Niger Republic, who do business with Niger Republic freely, may not be able to freely do business around there anymore. We may not be able to export officially to Niger Republic. Niger Republic goods that come from Niger Republic would not be able to come into Nigeria freely. There's also going to be security tensions between these countries. Now, we've had the multinational joint task force. It would mean that countries like Niger Republic would pull out their armed forces or security agencies from that joint task force, and what that does is that it's going to leave some of those border communities very porous to insecurity. And instead of having coordinated intelligence between both countries, now they're both going to be working independently to protect their territories, as against having that collaborative efforts to protect territories. These are some of the fallouts of this disintegration of the ECOWAS. Now, don't also forget that countries like Mali and Burkina Faso have been touted to be entrance points for weapons into the country. Will they be able to continue to serve as filters or blockades for some of these weapons that find their way into Nigeria, and even the movement of criminals into this part of the continent or the region. All of these are concerns that have come up from this. What do we see? We've seen a situation where it seemed like actions were taken before they were actually thought out effectively as regards to the way that ECOWAS handled the concerns in those countries, the military takeovers in Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, especially Niger Republic. This was what sparked it up. But again, one would ask: is the former head of state now saying that ECOWAS should condone the military usurpation of power in those countries? These are some of the questions on the minds of many Nigerians and analysts. What would happen now? Would it endorse and now say, okay, we accept you the way that you are, with the military running those countries? And what would that further mean for other countries within the bloc? Wouldn't it encourage somewhat military takeovers in those countries? These are some of the concerns. But again, one more thing, speaking back to the economy and the issue of patience, the federal government seems to be doing a whole lot to see that they mitigate the food crisis problem in the country and also ensure that the economy gets back up. One of the measures taking is that the federal government is seeking to continue the disbursement of cash transfers to about 12 million Nigerians. Now, this has been a policy that has been touted to work. Some economists support it. They say in countries like Brazil, Bolsa Familia was somewhat the conditional cash transfer that we're doing in the country, and it worked. It helps the economy bounce back. But the question has been, why hasn't it worked in the country, in Nigeria? We saw a situation where the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, that was in charge of the conditional cash transfer, has been under several probe because of alleged misappropriation and diversion of funds meant to be disbursed to the indigent people, or like they say, the poorest of the poor. Would there be more modalities or better modalities for the distribution of this cash to these people? Don't forget that if you cast your mind back to 2 days ago or so, the International Red Cross has said they too have handled cash transfers. They've done cash transfers, that they have opened a fund, an appeal fund, for Nigerians to contribute to, and every well-meaning people across the world to contribute towards tackling food insecurity in the country, so that they're able to provide food for Nigerians and also maybe do a cash transfer to these people. What is going to happen in the coming days? Will the cash transfer this time around be more transparent than it was in the last administration, or even the last seven, the one that happened under under the former minister, the suspended minister of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs? Would it be a little more transparent? And would it actually get to the people? It's important that we do so. Now, we've also seen that across the board many times that the person at the helm of affairs may have the very best interest of the citizens and approves for things to be done to better the lot of Nigerians. But those who are expected to drive these policies end up performing below expectation, and maybe even ridiculing the government. Would we see the government, or the federal government, or the president now sanctioning people, actually meting out punishments to those who fail in delivering the objectives of his policies? Would we see them, actually face punishment or being sacked or relieved of their duties for allowing his government look bad? These are the questions in the minds of many Nigerians, and particularly even in my mind. Join the conversation. It's Have You Say Thursday. Let's get your thoughts in. Unfortunately, it seemed to be down to one line this morning. I don't know how we're going to do this, but call 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. I've heard Nigerians say the problem is the removal of subsidy. If the federal government didn't remove subsidy, we wouldn't be where we are. Will the government revert or reverse the policy? Would it not? The president had said earlier that he was going to take these decisions, he was going to make these decisions, and no amount of protest against them would make him reverse them. Would he continue to hold on? Would he not? Join the conversation and let's talk. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my elder.
Good morning. This type of program is for me interview me about Gowon.
Yeah, true that.
They call it Gowon. If you can have that type of person in Nigeria again. Let me give you the history of Gowon. When there's a civil war in Nigeria, was the head of it. You see, 18 battalion, they go and destroy the whole of Umaria, and then Abangwa, and destroy the whole of the town. Gowon fly as a head of state to that place. He was very annoyed. The way they destroyed that place. He withdraw Colonel Didi. It is the name. Colonel Musa. Popular known as what's the name again? He withdraw military. Withdraw Mama Chua immediately from the field there. And bring other people there. He went to Port Harcourt. The way Adekule was handling 10 Marine commandos at that time, 15 brigades, they went and destroyed Weri and then destroyed all these enemy people, enemy sites. He withdraw Adekule, he bring Obasanjo to see. And then most of the regiment, he withdraw them from war front. Because the way they are using weapons at that time against of our brother, I don't want it. He tell us, say, this war is not a war outside, it's against of our brother to defend our brother home. Why are they using that type of weapon? How Kadobori, losing 18 battalion, we withdraw him to Kaduna, bring all these things. And then most of the weapons there, we withdraw it from war field. What Nigeria Army allowed to use at that time is SNP. And then this Sally Model 12. They are using this say, don't fire anybody where you see unless it's somebody with weapon. That's why Gowon result everything. All those using powerful things, we draw them and kill them. That's why Obasanjo go to Port Harcourt. They remove the Kadobori, Colonel Osman. They remove him from 18 battalion. The way they destroy all those things. He was annoyed. And the way Obasanjo came to Port Harcourt there, they take regiment, 15 battalion, withdraw them completely.
Okay.
So Obasanjo will go on. They are interests of Nigeria, and then you don't expect to go on to say, go begin a dissolve government. It's a father's advice. They have patience. It's not an insult. Did you want to make any comment more than that? I don't know how people are criticizing the person they're supposed to criticize. They have patience with this government. You want us to say, go and disturb the government. It's not possible. Gowon or Obasanjo, if you know what they do to Nigeria, you can't criticize them. That's why Obasanjo came out and talk. People started criticizing them. I used to laugh them. They don't know who is Obasanjo. Obasanjo is the interest of Nigeria. Gowon is the interest of Nigeria. Gowon all the weapons supplied to Nigeria, those hard weapons. If we know the Tamura, you cannot change all these arrogant officers. When they went to dismantle one second chance in Nigeria, they know They are our brother. Bring them back to home. Let us go and kill them.
Okay.
Share food. Share food, food soldier.
Thank you very much for that history lesson there. Really appreciate it. For those who didn't get this much history, I'm sure you got a bit of it now. Join 09073530044 and 09087668888. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my prince.
Good morning. Good morning.
You are my mentor. You are my mentor, John from Singapore.
Who is me? John.
You. I have been following from the station of this radio station, so I know what you're
You have, and some of you, yes. I must really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, because we know your quality. Those matters are arising from what you promoted. Yes, no, I don't think somebody is criticizing Yakubu Gowon. But when people are angry over issues, we see when the government are pushing you to the wall, every other things you are saying to calm the down and they are not seeing the effect. My prince, let me ask a question now. Assuming you want to go to Kaduna, you pick up from Abuja, going to Zuba, instead of taking the right and you take the flyover, you find yourself in Gwagwalada, you find yourself in Lokoja. What do you need to do? You need not to reverse back that you made a mistake. And you come back. And that's what people are saying. See, you are creating more trouble into this economy than solving it. And you are saying people to get patient, and that is where the trouble is. And you continue going in that journey that you made a mistake. That journey will not take you to Kaduna. And all of a sudden, to reverse back and eat your own pie, you refuse. And you continue to share money. Too much money on the public, and they are still pursuing few goods. You see this kind of a thing, and you just say in the morning, they have shared another money. And the people are directing me, no, don't share this money, don't do this, don't even go there. And this thing is not something helping us in this building economy. That's where people are getting paid. So any other thing people are saying, come down, this thing, have patience with them. Can a hungry man get that kind of patient for thanking the God? And you see people, the money is in the hand of few people, they are enjoying themselves, living a Colombian life, and you are watching, and you are hungry. So that is what makes people like they took up the former head of state and say, no, you don't tell us to give half safety. This is not the way to go. Somebody should advise, and I expected that Yakubu Gowon should equally advise our president. This is not what to go. This is what with his experience. This thing is killing the economy. On the ECOWAS, let me talk about it on ECOWAS now. And you can see that this thing, when this thing began to, the government of Nigeria and other took over, all you needed is diplomacy. And Nigeria was threatening them with a kind of war, invasion, and you do this and that. Now, they have shown that they are a sovereign nation. They can take up their own, they can take up whatever they say action, and they remain as a nation. Come and invade them, and this is what they are saying now. We can go on our own, an independent nation. So everything is diplomacy. He did not apply that again. We were threatening them. Then they have gone. What can you do? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for calling. And well, to stimulate the economy, speaking of the inflation and what things, I really wonder how a lot of people, are getting by the day. Yesterday I did a bit of a survey. I tried to find out for myself what the true prices of things were in the market, and I just started to stick with more, some of the staple food items, staple foods in the country: rice, beans, gari, some of those things that Nigerians buy on a daily basis. And I was taken aback. A measure of beans sells for 2,000 naira. Now, let's not forget that there are people whose daily pay, so if you aggregate what they earn and divide it by 25 or 30 days, as the case may be, what they earn may not be more than 1,000 or 1,500 naira. There are people who earn even way below that. There are people who go out in the morning and come back, after the whole day's work and, going about. What they come back with may not be more than 3,000 naira. I mean, even people who have jobs, let's do a bit of an analysis or calculation here. People, if you say for instance, you earn 200,000 naira, okay? 200,000 naira divided by, say, 25. That leaves you with 8,000 naira. All right, it means that you go out for the whole day for a salary of 200,000 naira. Your whole day's pay is around 8,000 naira. That's if we're to multiply by official 25 days. But if we're going by, say, 30 days, it means that what you earn is around 6,600 naira. Now, if a measure of beans is 2,000 naira and a measure of rice is between 2,200 and 2,000 and 2,800, right? What does that mean? If you have a family of, let's be moderate, 4. So you have 2 children, mommy and daddy. You don't have too many kids. Would a measure of beans or measure of rice, be enough for their family in a day? And if that's going to be okay for their family, what about other condiments that they need to make that rice? Are they just going to pour the rice in water and eat? These are some of the economic concerns that many people are dealing with. So this person who earns 6,000 naira or 8,000 naira a day, that's at 200,000 naira, has to transport to work. So let's say he lives very close to work and he spends 1,000 naira on transportation. Right, to and fro. I don't know how possible that is. Maybe in a place like FCT, but maybe in other states it could be possible. In a place like the Abuja, I'm thinking that let's just leave it at 1,000 naira. So he doesn't stay far from work, right? 1,000 naira transport to and fro. That's 1,000 naira out of his 6,600 naira. He's left with 5,600 naira, and he has to wait for the end of the month to get this money. There is a lot that goes into this calculations, which is why when NLC says, "Oh, we want 1 million naira," it sounds ridiculous and outrageous and all. But when you put together all of the indices, all of the what they need to do as families to get by, you'd realize that it's not much. But again, 500,000, maybe 500,000 naira is fair, right? Join the conversation. I'll get your points in. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning once again. Again, I saw Abubakar calling you from.
Welcome, Abubakar.
The proposed cash transfer will be a repetition of corruption cycle, fraud with scam and intimidation. We know the outcome of the cash transfer in the past, where some of the people, the supposed beneficiaries, they couldn't be located at anywhere. It is imaginary figures. They allocate trillions of naira. It's the same thing with the school feeding program, which in some states they can't identify the so-called schools. And trillions of naira went under the drain. So it is, and you can't tell me you can't measure any country in the wide world where that country achieved economic prosperity by transferring money to the account of their various citizens. What will make country achieve prosperity is when trade, investment, and businesses are flourishing. Then you create wealth, you create business opportunity, you create investment. People will benefit. Government will generate incomes. That is how you create. So this is a corrupt system which will just benefit a minority. And in case of the opinion of the elder statesman, retired General Gowon, yes, it's right. It's right because every country enjoys absolute independence. As a sovereign state, you can't impose resolution on any independent country. Among the countries that belong to United Nations, there are countries who practice monarchy. There are countries who they are politically neutral. They are neither west nor east, and they exist. They are doing fine. We have communist country. We have Putin in Russia. We have Israel, who is not respecting any resolution of the United Nations. They still remain independent countries. So, if some country in the ECOWAS decided to go on military rule, it's okay for them. That does not exclude them from being ECOWAS member if they want peace to reign within the region.
Okay.
If they want to, hello?
Yes, we'll get you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And so, speaking of the conditional cash transfer, yesterday or 2 days ago, the Senate seems to be considering that this was brought up by Senator what's his name now? Senator Alain Ndume, Borno State, APC. He's proposing himself and a few other colleagues are proposing that Nigeria gets introduces this food stamp. In countries like the United States, it was also used, and it's somewhat still in use, where people would present these stamps or coupons, and they are exchanged for food items and all of that, especially the basic needs. So what he's proposing is that Nigerians would get these stamps or coupons now, and when we go to, say, the markets, you present these coupons and your issued foodstuff, while the federal government now pays the merchants who gave you those foodstuff, worth whatever amount was on that coupon that you brought in. So that's what he's proposing. But would it work, considering the peculiarity of Nigeria? Bolsa Familia worked in Brazil. The same policy is brought here, and it seemed not to work. So Senator Alain Ndume is saying, instead of giving people cash, because if you give them cash, they'll just go and buy whatever they want, or they may not even end up buying the food. And it's easy for, the monies to go away. But we've also seen situations where people do contracts and government doesn't pay. The school feeding program was mostly frustrated because some of the vendors were not paid after they had, prepared meals and served to children. And it just, in some places where the pilot scheme was introduced, it didn't really work. Monies were expended on the school feeding, which was a noble thing to do, to show up, school registration in schools and people enrolling in schools. I mean, I remember I was in Kaduna when the Kaduna State started the homegrown school feeding program, and there was massive enrollment of children in school. But again, some way, somehow, everything fizzled out. The objectives of every program or policy of government should be upheld by those who drive them. How much more money would people want to put in their pockets? How much more money do people want to, embezzle? Including what's meant for the poorest of the poor. Why do you want to just keep taking and taking and taking and taking from the poor? Sometimes government thinks things through and decides, we want to do this. But those who drive them would end up frustrating them. Tinkering with several ideas now. But again, some of these things may not really work. Why not put in place infrastructure that would help the people? The president had promised about 3,000 CNG buses under the presidential, CNG program or something. What is holding those buses from coming in? It's been 9 months now since this administration took over power. Declared subsidy gone on the first day. Why? What is stalling the, deployment of these buses to reduce the cost of transportation? I was told yesterday. I was talking earlier about how people were stranded at the bus stop, several bus stops in the city yesterday because there were no vehicles. If many of the cab drivers in the city had converted, their vehicles easily to CNG at cheaper rates, maybe we wouldn't be facing all of this. They would be able to drive people to their destinations at cheaper rates. Again, policies of government falling flat when it comes here. In other climes, they would work, but once they come down here and we try to implement the same things that seem to have worked in other climes and other countries, it just falls to the ground. More calls 09073530044 and 09087668888. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, Michael.
Work is great.
My name is Darlington. I'm calling from Zuba.
Darlington from Zuba. So good to have you. It's your first time calling?
No, I'll be calling, but not all the time.
Okay, good to have you, sir. Welcome.
Yes. I want to talk about this transferring money. I don't think it should work in Nigeria because Nigeria is filled up with all these ethnic and tribalism. So transferring money will not be the solution and it will not help. One single person may just use the money and transfer to his own side of the people. Instead of doing this transferring money, the other way, you should put this money into refinery so that we all will benefit from it. You mentioned something like Brazil. You can't compare Brazil with Nigeria. They are filled. If you take the way we run our system, the government in Nigeria is quite different from that, honestly speaking. So, anything that those who are advising the president, I don't think that they have the marketing at all. They are just looking for ability to use anything that will come from federal government. That's my own contribution. May God bless you.
Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you for calling. We get those calls coming 09073530044 and 09087668888. Don't forget you can send me SMS and WhatsApp messages on 09097054450. Okay, so Akamata says what Yakubu Gowon just did is nothing but esprit de corps, sharing of cash to who? Another way of spending money that cannot be accounted for. Okay, that's your thoughts. And let's get to this one. Abdullahi Mekano says there is no economic balance in Nigeria. The situation is pathetic. Many people go to bed empty. That's how it has started in the Arab world. Social revolution in Sudan, Tunisia, Yemen, Egypt, and some Asian countries, and even European nations. It happened to some African countries. It's happening to some African countries now. Nigerians are pushed to the wall and anything can happen at the moment. Government should quickly do the needful before its total escalation. Abdullahi Mekano, thank you very much. Nothing happened. And hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Who's joining us?
Prince Hanato.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Elder Boniface from Gowon.
Elder Boniface, I'm glad you're here this morning. Go ahead, talk to me.
Thank you very much. Talking about transferring money to Nigerians, how many vulnerable people have an account? So many of these people, the vulnerable, they don't have account. How do you reach them? How does this money get to them? It's only few people in Nigeria that get money and that get an account in the bank. And I don't believe in this transferring of money. It's another way of sharing money to those people in authority. Why not divert this money to our refineries? And why not our president to revise his first announcement that subsidies are done, so that everybody will benefit. Please, Nigerians are suffering. Things are getting worse every day. We should do something before something happens in Nigeria. God bless all of us. Thank you very much.
God bless you too. But again, we sue for patience, just like General Yakubu Gowon. Give some time. Give some time. 9 months in the life of this administration, with the policies and, according to government, hard decisions that are being taken, you'd expect that some of these things would happen. But again, let's put in quick measures to ensure that the pressure is eased. The pressure eases off the average Nigerian, because if this kind of I was doing an analysis of 200,000 naira salary. The question is, how many people, what's the percentage of Nigerians who earn up to 200,000 naira per month? I mean, we're talking about graduates. Okay, what's the percentage of people who have BScs or HNDs or even masters and and maybe an NCE, because those are the people who naturally should earn around that amount averagely, because an average graduate should earn way above that. But again, many of these people earn around that amount, and then several others, way more than the people who earn 200,000, earn way below that amount, way below. The graduates who earn 50,000 naira in this country, 50,000 naira. And we do know that we have a largely uneducated population. So imagine what those people earn. Aside from those who are in business, who do one business or the other, and all, even those who do one business or the other, how many of them earn up to 100,000 naira per month? How many of them do businesses that can pay them up to 100,000 naira per month? These are the considerations. Now, if a person who earns 200,000 naira a month takes home his daily, if you break it down per day, it gives you about 6,600 naira. How would they be able to survive if one module of rice, or one measure, or one tier of rice is around 2,300 and 2,800 naira? If beans, I've never really heard people say foreign beans. If a tier of beans is 2,000 naira, 2,000 naira. Beans is, we have a lot of beans here, right? A tier of beans, 2,000 naira. A tier of gari has gone up to 1,000 naira. 1K. Now, if you buy water, let's be pure water. A bag of pure water now is 400 naira. If you have a family of 4, how many days would a bag of pure water go? Palm oil, a bottle of palm oil is around 1,300, 1,500 naira. That's small. This small bottle of water. All of these things have gone up astronomically. The salaries and wages of the people have remained the same. Government says they're going to ensure that there's a new minimum wage by April. Will the minimum wage be able to get people by? What number would they agree on finally between the federal government, labor, and even state governments, the private sector as well? What figure would they be able to agree on? That would somewhat get Nigerians going and getting by. So when people complain, I don't really want to blame the people. You cannot blame the people for complaining, because they're going through a lot. I saw somebody yesterday, during my survey in the market, and she was close to tears. And I'm going to beg you, men, please, if you give your wife money to go to the market, this is not the time to fight your wife if she couldn't buy certain things. This is not the time to think that your wife is stealing your money. No, please, 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 just avoid that. I would advise that you maybe even go to the market yourself and see for yourself. Those of you who are breadwinners in your families who give your wife money to go and buy food stuff, maybe you should one day follow her to the market and see how expensive things are, and see that sometimes they end up just managing to cut down, and buy some of the things that they buy. Because 1 minute you're at the market, the price of something is A. The next minute you come back, it's X. So please, now is not the time to have family feuds and quarrels and all of that. Everyone should understand. This reminds me of the days when something similar happened in the 90s, where Nigerians were going back to cook with sawdusts, and some families began to eat things that they had never eaten because they had to adjust to the economic realities. I remember that I didn't know what sweet potato was until that period. I didn't know what it was until around that time. So the first day we saw it, what's this? What is this one that mommy brought? How can mommy, what is this? And she said, it's sweet potatoes. And and many families ate things like that at that time. Many Nigerians were introduced to different kinds of beans they were never used to. I remember seeing some black beans at the time. Black beans. I'd never seen it in my life until that period when a neighbor came back home, and that's what she bought, and that's what she was going to cook for her kids, because when she got to the market, she couldn't afford to buy the regular beans, and that was the next beans that was available. They had to cook that beans for several hours. Those of you who were growing up at the time, you would recall these situations where firewood was luxury for many families. I remember how our neighbors would come to our house to say they want to cook on our stove because they couldn't afford kerosene at that time, let alone gas. It's just thinking about this times now just brings back some really interesting memories, not so pleasant. But again, Nigerians were able to deal with that period. Maybe we'll deal with this one again and come out strong, because we are very resilient people, very, very resilient. I'll take some of your thoughts.
Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm Ugonia, reaching out here in Abuja. So many things to talk about, so many things going on. The inflation is going high every day by day. And the worst part is that the government are not doing anything positively to fix it. I just heard you saying about you going for a survey, to know how Nigerians are coping. I will start by myself. Just if care is not taken, the amount of rice will surpass my salary. Just if care is not taken, maybe before this month or this week, will surpass my own salary as a young boy or young guy trying to survive. but all hope in God. But I just want to chip in something. This money they wanted to share to 12 million Nigerians. I don't know. There's no common sense in this. There's no common sense. Why not use this money? Fix some certain area of the government. Like build a refinery. Maybe the money won't, but start up something. Yeah, start up start up. Don't open Dangote. Should be they tell us say the Dangote will start last year, this year. Now, this is almost the end of February. They should just start up something. We know that to start up something is always hard, but start it up first.
Okay.
Sharing money to Nigeria is okay.
All right. Good night. Thank you very much. That really can take more. Tekimba says, President Tinubu should be reminded he can't solve the current hurdle with palliatives. It's like a drop in the ocean. The president was faster than his shadow when he pronounced on that day subsidy is gone. Why not put things in place before removing subsidy? E.g., why not buy all the buses and all the things to reduce the pains of subsidy removal? Attention must also not be focused on only at the president. The governors are not helping the issue with huge allocation monthly. Tekimbe, thank you very much for your contribution. We'll leave it there now and say thank you to everyone else who's been a part of the conversation. Really appreciate your time, your thoughts, and all. Again, please be patient. Like General Yakubu Gowon said, be patient. Exercise some more patience. Things would get better if some of the things the government is saying they are able to accomplish and stick to, things most likely would get better. But let's focus on infrastructure. Let's focus on providing cheaper transportation means for people, and especially for goods and services. The issue of increasing duty rates per day, almost on a daily basis now, I don't know how that works. I really don't know, because we probably should be looking at ways to maybe reduce that. I don't think that importation would be should be a long-term solution, but maybe in the short term, maybe in the short term, it could be an option to look at. I'll leave it there now. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of it again. Tomorrow we'll be back with more. This is Eagles Outlook on your radio experience you can count on.